The Nuggets are back at it for the second game of a back-to-back to finish up the season series against the Wizards. You're watching CS 105.1, where I talk about sports with good vibes. Let's get it. How's it going, everyone, and welcome. I'm CS Chandler, here for another take of Nuggets basketball. So it was the second game of a back-to-back tonight as the Nuggets took on the Washington Wizards. AG was still ruled out as part of the calf strain load management there. I know he played last night, but he was out today, so they're still trying to manage that calf, I guess. And then so the starting lineup was Nikola Jokić, Christian Braun, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., and Russel Westbrook. The Nuggets were wearing their white jerseys once again. They love those white jerseys this season. Almost feel like those white jerseys are becoming kind of a curse on the Nuggets. But maybe they should, wear the black ones. They should bring back last season's Black City edition. Those ones were good. I like those ones. Let's bring those back. I don't care if you couldn't see the blue on them. They were still cool. Let's bring them back. The Wizards were wearing their red jerseys. And the Wizards got the worst win against the Nuggets of our season, meaning we got the worst loss of the season tonight. We thought the worst loss was losing in Washington. No, turns out the Nuggets can actually steep lower, and they got the worst win, which was tonight, because that means that the Nuggets got swept by the Wizards. That's right. You heard that right. The second seed Nuggets got swept by the literal worst team ever in basketball tonight. That's how this Nuggets team is going this season. That's what they do. Jokić was completely right that they can win against anyone and they can lose against anyone. So, final score tonight was 126-123. What happened in the game? Let's dive in. First quarter, the Wizards controlled the tip, but both teams seemed to struggle to score early until Sarr finally broke through with a close range bucket. MPJ then quickly responded with a three to give the Nuggets a quick lead, followed up by a layup from Jokić. Sarr then answered with a three of his own. He was having a good game tonight. He tied the game then. But then the Nuggets continued to hold their advantage. Despite the lead, though, Malone called it the first time out of the game just after Michael Porter Jr. fouled George there. He just kind of, we all kind of saw concerns for energy levels. And so and ball control. So he called that timeout. And then out of the break, CB knocked down a three to extend the lead to 6. And Jamal showed great hustle, fighting for an offensive rebound off an MPJ miss and converting a layup. And then Middleton hit a three, but Russ responded with a three of his own to keep the Nuggets lead in control. With both teams subbing in bench players at this point, then Zeke and CB came up with back-to-back steals, both leading to buckets, pushing the lead to 13. Jokić puts up a masterclass. He really put up a masterclass in that first quarter, faking out the defender and then going up to the rim for a nice finger roll layup, drawing the foul as well, which was awesome. Capping off at a dominant first quarter. He got 20 points in one quarter. Awesome job from Jokić tonight. I was really hoping that he would get a triple-double, but he did not. We'll get into that stuff later, though. So the Nuggets win the first quarter, 44-30. Pretty dominant. You would think that that's going to be pretty much how the rest of the game goes, right? Nope. Second quarter. The Nuggets opened the second quarter with a missed shot, while Richaun Holmes got to the line for the first points of the period. Or the quarter, and Murray responded with a layup to get the Nuggets on the board, and P-Watt controlled a defensive rebound before pushing it ahead to Zeke for a fast break dunk and a foul, though Zeke would miss the free throw. Then the Wizards took advantage of some really sloppy plays that the Nuggets had possessions on, scoring a few layups and knocking down a three to trim the lead down to 7. MPJ then faked out his defender and scored, getting the Nuggets first to 50. And then the Nuggets displayed amazing defense. This was like probably the best part of tonight, was seeing P-Watt fighting, blocking the shot from Sarr. And then Zeke helping out. He blocks the second attempt from Sarr. And then Zeke blocks the third attempt from Sarr. P-Watt gets the ball, kicks it down to Zeke for the dunk. Amazing little sequence there. And then immediately on the transition, Zeke responds again with a block on Sarr. Zeke had an amazing defensive quarter, or maybe like stint there in the second one, that was just phenomenal. And I wish that he would have continued that dominance and would have like sprayed and like radiated to the other players, because it kind of seemed at times that he was the only one playing defense. Jokić checked back in at the 7:21 mark and quickly made an impact, powering through the defense for a bucket and a foul. MPJ and Sarr traded threes, and Brody buried one from deep to push the lead back to 10 and get him to 26,000 career points. Big night for Brody tonight, and I wish that they would have had more celebration for that. That was pretty awesome for him to experience that, especially as a Nugget. The Wizards, though, win the second 33-28, and the Nuggets stay on top, though, going into the half, 72-63. So already they outscored us by 5. Not good. So third quarter starts. The Nuggets opened the third quarter with an offensive foul, turning the ball over on the first possession. Malone quickly challenged an out-of-bounds call on Jokić, and the ruling was overturned. On the inbound play, Jokić converted a layup to push the lead back to 11, but Sarr responded with an uncontested three to bring the deficit to single digits. And what have I been saying all season long? Is the Nuggets don't contest threes, and every single team has been letting them pay for it. It's just crazy they do not contest threes. The defense for threes for the Nuggets is just horrendous right now. And so the Wizards then challenge a foul call on Poole, which is successful. And leads to a jump ball that the Nuggets luckily controlled, even though it should have been the Nuggets ball anyways, because when you review the play, the ball goes off on Middleton and out of bounds. So if you were to just go through that, then obviously it's Nuggets ball, but regardless, we still got the ball, and they failed to capitalize on that, which is also not great. So the Wizards took advantage, scoring again to take the lead down to 4, and then Poole flopped and tripped MPJ, resulting in a foul call, which the Wizards decided to challenge, which was the worst decision by far, because then it was not overturned. It was an unsuccessful challenge. Plus, the refs went back and saw that Poole flopped, and they assessed him with a flop violation. So then Murray goes to the line, sinks a free throw for the Tech, and the Nuggets then struggled to control the possession after that, and the Wizards respond with another bucket to tie the game. Murray came up with a steal and took it coast to coast for a layup to regain the lead, and followed by a skyhook from Jokić to extend that lead back to 4. However, slow defensive closeouts allowed the Wizards to battle back and tying the game again at the buzzer. The Wizards outplaying the Nuggets in the third, winning the quarter 32-23. It was stupid. We were actually winning the third quarter, and within the last 2 minutes, maybe even less than, maybe it was like the last minute, they were able to go on an 8-0 run. It was ridiculous. Fourth quarter. The Wizards opened the fourth quarter with a 3 from Champagnie for the first points of that quarter. But then Brody responded with a 3 of his own to tie the game. Holmes scored inside to put the Wizards ahead and first to 100. I did not like that mark, because you can be first to 50 or have the other opponents get first to 50 and still win. The first to 100, though, is a pretty good indicator that team is going to win, as what I've said before. Bad communication of a defensive switch between Brody and P-Watt left George open for an easy dunk and forces Malone to take a timeout that was very heated. and very warranted to be heated, because I don't know who wouldn't have been upset by the lack of defense and the lack of communication from the Nuggets tonight. Out of the break, Murray hit a technical free throw after another defensive 3-second violation, followed by a setback jumper from MPJ to give the Nuggets a 1-point lead. Jokić checked back in at the 8-minute mark, and the Nuggets built an 8-point cushion behind a Brody layup and a Murray 3. The momentum, though, then shifted when Murray injured his ankle and left the game, because at this point, him leaving the game allowed Poole to hit 3 consecutive threes. Stupid, with no other bucket coming from the Nuggets. They was literally 9 points with that, just 9 points right off, within a second. Before they couldn't even blink, there was 9 points on the board for Poole. That was just ridiculous. How is the worst team now all of a sudden playing like they're the number 1 seed? It's just really stupid how the Nuggets allow these teams to play, make them look so good. And that allowed them to cut down the lead to 1. Sarr then tied it with a 3, and defensive lapses gave George an open 3 to put the Wizards ahead. Once again, the defense against threes, it has to get better. This defense, this lack of defense on the threes, it needs to end. We need to be better. So then Murray actually checks back in. He went back to the tunnel when he was dealing with that ankle issue. It wasn't that bad, hopefully, because he was able to then check back in. And within 5 seconds left, he buries a 3 to tie the game with a step back jumper. And then Poole, who is guarded by Brody, and Brody definitely gave him way too much space. And Poole basically hits a logo 3, puts it up in the air, sinks it for the game-winning bucket at the buzzer, sealing a 126-123 victory against the Nuggets, getting the season sweep. Oh, this one really stings and really sucks. So we'll get into stats after this. As a cinematographer, photographer, and now a podcaster, I do believe lighting is everything. And if you're serious about creating dynamic content, you need to check out Nanlite. They're all about precision and control. Whether it's soft, natural lighting or vibrant colors, Nanlite gives you full flexibility to set the mood for any scene. From compact LEDs to powerful softboxes, Nanlite has light solutions that fit every setup. It's ideal for photographers, like myself, videographers, like myself, and creators who want to pro-grade quality right out on their fingertips. With Nanlite, you're lighting like a pro every time. And we're back. All right, so let's get over these stats here. They're going to be very painful because you're going to see them and you're going to think, how did the Nuggets lose with these stats? But they did, because they had no defense. So Christian Braun played 34 minutes tonight. He had 9 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. Best stat here for Christian Braun was that he did not miss a single shot tonight. He had 4 for 4, 1 for 1 from 3. And then he had 3 turnovers, 0 personal fouls. He was a -2. Then Michael Porter Jr. played 36 minutes tonight. He had a double-double, 20 points, 11 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, 7 for 16 from field, 3 for 6 from 3, 3 for 4 from free throws. He had 0 turnovers, 4 personal fouls, was a -13. Jokić played 39 minutes tonight. He played the most amount of minutes of any Nugget tonight, and he looked beaten tonight. He was hobbling, especially towards the end there. You could tell that he is not in good condition right now. So he had a double-double, pretty much a soundboard double. He had 1 assist shy of a triple-double. So he had 40 points, 13 rebounds, 9 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 16 for 30 from field, 1 for 8 from 3, 7 for 7 from free throws. He had 3 turnovers, 3 personal fouls, was a +6. He was one of 2 only pluses on the Nuggets. Westbrook played 36 minutes tonight, 22 points, 4 rebounds, 11 assists, 1 steal, 9 for 19 from field, 4 for 8 from 3. He had 3 turnovers, 2 personal fouls, was a 0 tonight. And then Murray played 36 minutes tonight. He had 24 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 steals, 9 for 16 from field, 3 for 8 from 3, 3 for 3 from free throws. He had 3 turnovers, 2 personal fouls, was a plus 19. So actually there was 3 players that were in the pluses. So it was Jokić, Murray, and then Zeke Naji was a plus. So with the bench-wise, though, I'll actually get to Zeke Naji. He played 20 minutes tonight. He had 6 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks, 2 for 5 from field, 0 for 2 from 3, 2 for 3 from free throws, 2 turnovers, 4 personal fouls, was a plus 4. Peyton Watson was a minus 22, the worst minus of everyone, even though he still had 1 steal and 2 blocks. So overall stats, we had 42 rebounds to their 44, so they out-rebounded us. We had 40 assists to their 34. We had 12 steals to their 11. We had 8 blocks to their 4. We shot 50% from field. They shot 48. We shot 35% from 3, 12 for 34. They shot 42%, 19 for 45. Hey, we shot 88%. They shot 88% from free throws. And then we had 17 turnovers. They had 17 turnovers. We had 20 personal fouls. They had 17. Not a great night for the Nuggets at all, but we're going to get into big takeaways after this. Hey everyone, let's talk sound quality. Imagine having pro-level audio that's easy to set up, flexible, and sounds incredible. That's the Røde Pod Mic USB. It's got both USB and XLR connections, so whether you're recording solo at home or in a full studio setup, you're covered. And get this, the built-in DSP effects let you adjust the sound with 0 lag. You get that deep, smooth broadcast tone right out of the box. It's versatile, powerful, and basically makes your voice sound like pure gold. And we're back. All right, so big takeaways here. Some of my big takeaways result more for the Nuggets themselves. The energy levels. The energy levels have just been really off. It seems like the win that we got against OKC was too much, that we just basically spent all of the energy that we needed to get by this rest of the week. Kind of feels like at this point it would have been better to just have lost to OKC rather than to have lost to the Timberwolves, to barely make it out by a beaten Lakers, and then to lose to the horrible Wizards. Like, I would kind of almost in hindsight take those 3 wins right there versus the 1 major win. Like, it wasn't good enough. I mean, you lose to the worst team in the league twice in the same season. You get swept by them. That's almost worse than losing to the best team, you know? Like, that, I don't know at that point. And it seems just kind of also like there's a mismanagement level playing here. The starters are still playing way too many minutes in this season that they are now drained and tired. And that was the big excuse last year when they lost to the Timberwolves in Game 7. We were too tired. We fought too hard for the 1 seed. Well, what are you guys doing now? Are you fighting too hard for the 2nd seed? Because that kind of feels like what's happening right here. So I don't know what's going on, but they need to definitely rely more on each other and communicate, because right now there is not a lot of communication. That, like, case in point was that lack of communication between Brody and P-Watt that allowed George to get that easy dunk tonight. Just that lack of communication on the switches. Like, where's the defense? And I know Malone tonight, he even called that out. Since the start of the season, he's been calling them out for bad defense. And yet the players are still going in almost like they're going to win just on the offense, because they are a great offensive team, but you can't rely on that every single game. You have to really stick to the ground roots there, and that's where the defense comes in. The defense is your base. Just you have a good base, and then you can play off of that. And the Nuggets just continue to fail at doing that. So it doesn't feel like the Nuggets also want to win a next chip right now. I'm sure that maybe a couple of players, they really want to win, but you're not really getting that vibe overall with the entire team. It doesn't feel like when you watch the Celtics, unfortunately, I have to bring up the Celtics. When you watch the Celtics, they look like they want to win another chip. When you look at the Cavs, they look like they want to win another chip because they have one. And then you look at OKC, and they really want to win their first chip. Even the Rockets look very hungry. The Nuggets don't look that hungry this season, despite the fact that they're now the hunters. That was the next big thing, is they were now saying that we're so relieved we're no longer the hunted. We're now going to be the hunters. Well, now you're the hunters, and you still don't look very hungry. So this whole energy level needs to be reevaluated. And maybe you sit some of the key guys for some of these games, upcoming games, and really get them some rest so that they can play well in the postseason, because we're making the postseason. There's no doubt about that. We're going to be making the postseason, but it's just a matter of where in the postseason are we going to be lined up with. And we need to be able to rely on some of the other players that haven't really had a lot of minutes, So I just hope that Malone doesn't go into the Tom Thibodeau way of really burning his starters. And then you have starters coming up to you like Mikal Bridges saying, hey, maybe you don't play us that long and you play some other players a little bit more. Like, they need more minutes to be able to be better. I hope that doesn't happen. But right now we're seeing Murray playing some of the most amount of minutes. You're seeing Jokić sometimes playing the most amount of minutes. Christian Brown playing the most amount of minutes. Or even Michael Porter Jr. playing the most amount of minutes. CB I will give credit to, and Jokić, because those two want to be out there all the time. But now you're seeing Jokić look super beat up. So maybe you don't listen to him all the time and you do kind of call him back a little bit. I know that that the entire team rather is better because of him. But at what cost? What cost are we going to risk Jokic's health just to get the win? The one win that, against a team that we don't really care about. So if the Nuggets have any hope of winning, they need to play defense, really. They have to play defense. This lack of defense all season long, it's getting very tiring for, I'm sure, Malone, and even to be in that squad. I'm sure that it's very tiring to lose because of lack of defense, and you're sitting there scratching your head wondering, how can I be better and everything? Oh, I need to be better, but then the next opportunity comes around and you're not better. And I'm sure it gets very, very frustrating. So, but from the fan perspective, from the Nuggets Nation perspective, it's very tiring to consistently see bad defense every single game almost. The best defense we've seen all season long was that one win against OKC. Yeah, there's been other circumstances where they've played some decent defense, but that one game was probably the best defense that they played all season long. And it got them the win. But now we're seeing at the cost of what it got them. So I was watching DNVR before I hopped on here after the game. I kind of needed it because I was just too shocked that the Nuggets lost twice to a horrible team of the Wizards. I was kind of, feeling a little sad. Or rather, I know a lot of Nuggets fans are feeling sad right now. So I need a little bit more of kind of consoling with other Nuggets fans and everything. And they had a guest on there tonight who made a good point that when you look outside of the bubble that the Nuggets nation is in, and you look at them compared to other teams, this isn't a horrible season. You look at the Rockets, they're having just the same amount of issues that we're having. You look at the Grizzlies, they're having the same, if not different types of issues, but they're still struggling just like we are. The Lakers are still struggling and having issues the same as we are. The Warriors had a horrible start. Well, actually, they had a great start, but then, after like 5 games, then they really plummeted, and they were having one of the worst seasons at one point until Jimmy Butler came in, and now all of a sudden they're revived and they're having a great time. It's just like everything is up and down. Even the Timberwolves, having gone to the Western Conference Finals last season, they've been in the play-in the entire season now. So everyone's having struggling seasons right now, except for OKC and the Cavs, and maybe you could put the Celtics on there. But everyone is struggling. So yes, we lost a horrible, embarrassing loss to the Wizards. We got swept with them this year. It happens. And some teams have other issues, We didn't get swept by the Pelicans, and I'm sure that the Pelicans have swept some people. And they've made some other teams embarrassed, right? So it's not all doom and gloom. It's not a funeral yet. So one thing to kind of keep in mind. But then also I was watching Jokic's post-game interview tonight as well, and he reminded everyone that during the chip year, they still lost the should-have-won games in that year, in the last month rather, too. So this isn't, some big sign of like, oh, the Nuggets aren't going to win the chip. They know where they're at least a little bit. So it could be just they're rather trying to manage their energy levels right now so that they can save it for the postseason. There is very much that possibility. And all of this other, like, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? Kind of thing is just all for nothing, because we're not the ones on the court, rather. They are. So I'm sure that they are more in tune with their bodies and their energy levels and what they need to do to be able to, push forward in the postseason. So there's still much left to be seen. Right? A lot could happen in just the next month. There's like 1 month now, I think exactly 1 month left of the regular season. So there's going to be a lot going on. We got to stay in tune, and we got to, just put up those good vibes for the Nuggets, for our team that we love. Stick by them, even though that this team, it can be very, very frustrating. These losses can be very, very sickening, but if you love the Nuggets as much as I do, or even more, stick by them. We're going to be all right. We have the best player in the world. Regardless of what anyone says about SGA, we have the best player in the world. I don't care what anyone says, really, about SGA. Give him the scoring title. Jokić is MVP. End of discussion. So, but what did this loss do for the Nuggets? Well, the Rockets were nipping at our heels. They won tonight. We lost tonight. They were a game behind before today. So we actually are now tied for second seed. But because they have the win over us right now, they have the tiebreaker. So we still have 2 more games against them. And hopefully we get the 2 more wins so that we get the tiebreaker, especially if they're going to be this close to us towards the end. That's going to be definitely handy. So we now are technically in third place, 43 wins, 25 losses. We're actually tied. So there is a 4-team tie for second place in the loss column. The Houston Rockets have 25 losses. We have 25 losses. Grizzlies have 25 losses, and Lakers have 25 losses. The Lakers have 40 wins, and then the Grizzlies, us, and Houston all have 43 wins. So we're technically actually tied with the Grizzlies as well. So it's a 3-way tie for second place. Luckily, we get the tiebreaker against the Grizzlies and makes them the 4th seed. So we're sitting there right at the 3rd seed. And the next games, so this is very important. If you watch my show, got some big news here. So the next game is the Nuggets' first game on a long, difficult road trip. They're going to head first to the Bay Area here to face the Warriors, which I'm actually going to be at covering for the DNVR podcast. Big news. I'm very excited about it. My first time ever being a media person there at a game. So very much looking forward to interviewing some of the players and everything. This is a big opportunity, so I am definitely excited for that, which means that I won't be here doing a podcast for that game. I will recap what I saw and everything in the next game, but just so everyone knows that I'm not going to do one on Monday night for that game. It will be an ESPN game as well. Those dang ESPN games, I tell you what, like they just love those ESPN games. And then Wednesday, the 19th, they're going to be playing the Lakers again for the last time of this season, also on ESPN. But I'll definitely do a podcast about that game. And then they head up the coast. So they start in the middle, basically. They go down to the Lakers, and then they go back up to Portland. And they play Portland on the 21st to close out that series. And then they head over for Sunday the 23rd to play the Rockets in Houston, which is the first game of another back-to-back. And then they'll play the Bulls in Denver on that Monday for the second game of back-to-back. And hopefully they don't get swept by the Bulls, though I would rather have taken a sweep by the Bulls than a sweep by the Wizards, because I actually do like the Bulls. I've always liked the Bulls ever since Jordan, so that would have been one that would have been easier to swallow, but still don't want them to get swept by any more teams, so let's continue with that. Now, when you think about it, though, the Nuggets have gotten swept by the Cavs. They've gotten swept by the Celtics. They've gotten swept by the Knicks. And now they've gotten swept by the Wizards. So they got swept by the three best teams in the East and the worst team in the East. And the worst team overall. Like, that's crazy. That just kind of shows you what kind of the season's been like for the Nuggets. And Jokić said it perfectly. I don't know how many games ago, but he said they can win against any team and they can lose against any team. And that is perfectly stated in this week when they lost against the Wizards today, but the beginning of the week started with a win against the OKC. So you got one of the best teams versus the worst team. That's just kind of how the season goes. So that's pretty much all I got for this episode. Again, I will not be doing an episode on Monday when they face the Warriors. I'll be at that game covering for the DNVR podcast. If you want to check out my coverage and everything, you have to head to that channel for any of that stuff. But I will recap what I went through and everything on the next podcast, which will be on Wednesday against the Lakers. So thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe. Share it out to your friends and family. And hang in there, Nuggets fans. We're going to make it. You've been listening to CS 105.1, where I talk about sports with good vibes. I'll catch you later.